Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What wakes you up when the alarm clock fails? What keeps your feet moving when your legs say, sit down? What whispers in your ear when the world is yelling a no? That's your fire. If you don't feed it, it dies. If you don't fuel it, it fizzles. And when it goes out, so do you. You see, everybody wants the reward, but not everybody wants the grind. Everybody wants to stand in the spotlight, but few are willing to bleed in the dark. Your fire is not built on comfort. It's built on pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, or it bursts pipes. Thanks. Which one are you? People will doubt you. Good, let them. Obstacles will rise. Good, climb them. You will fail. That's right, you will fail. But failure, that's not your enemy. It's your trainer. Every you know is fuel. Every setback, fuel. Every tear, every long night, every closed door, fuel. You want a dream? Don't just wish for it. Work for it, war for it, fight for it. Because the dream doesn't chase you back. You gotta hunt it down. This world owes you nothing. Not your parents, not your job, not your talent. So you show up, you show out, you show out. And when you fall, not if, when you get up and you keep going. Because fire don't quit. Fuel your fire with purpose. Fuel it with pain. Fuel it with passion. But whatever you do, never let it die. Because when your fire burns bright enough, it doesn't just light your path, it lights the way for everyone behind you. Your fire is your drive. It's not just motivation, it's the thing inside you that doesn't ask for permission, doesn't wait for applause, and doesn't back down when life gets loud. It's what keeps your heart beating with intention when your body is worn out and your mind is full of doubt. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And then that whisper is your reason, your why, your fight. It's the difference between simply waking up and truly rising. Most people mistake external forces for internal drive. They think money is the fire. They think fame is the fire. They chase status, attention, validation, things that flicker and fade. But those things can't sustain you because when you get knocked down, and you will, no amount of money or likes or applause will get you back up. That's when your real fire shows up, the one nobody sees, the one that's personal, quiet, relentless. Drive doesn't need a stage. It doesn't need lights. It shows up in the gym when no one's watching. It shows up in your study room at 2 a.m. while others are sleeping. It shows up when you choose to keep going, knowing the path is long and the rewards may not come tomorrow. Your fire doesn't care about shortcuts. It's built on something stronger than convenience. It's built on hunger. And hunger is what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. It's what makes someone run when their legs are tired. It's what makes someone speak up when their voice is shaking. Hunger makes you work like you're broke, even when you're doing just fine, because your standard isn't survival. It's excellence, not just making it through, but breaking through. That kind of fire, it's not lit by comfort. It's sparked by vision. The clearer your vision, the stronger your flame. If you don't know what you're chasing, you'll never catch it. If you don't know why you started, you'll quit halfway through. Drive comes from knowing what matters to you more than sleep, more than pride, more than fear. And once you've found that reason, whatever it is, you protect it. You build your life around it because that's your fuel. Every great achievement begins with a quiet decision, a private moment where you say, this is what I'm willing to suffer for. Not a this is what I hope for, or this is what would be nice. Suffering for something means you're ready to trade comfort for growth. It means your fire is real. And a real fire, it doesn't flicker in the wind. It burns hotter when challenged. It expands under pressure. People will doubt that fire. Some might try to put it out. They won't understand why you work the way you do, why you push yourself when no one's making you. That's fine. They don't need to understand, because drive isn't something you explain. It's something you explain. It's something you live. It's in how you walk into a room. It's in how you keep showing up when it's hard, boring, or thankless. It's in how you demand more from yourself, not because you're not enough, but because you know you can be even more. That inner fire is the root of all resilience. Without it, you crumble when things get tough. With it, you endure, you adapt, you evolve. It gives you grit. It teaches you patience. It turns obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into springboards. It's what makes you keep your head up when the scoreboard says you're losing and everyone else thinks it's over. You're not done. Because your fire says so. Feeding the fire isn't about feeling good. It's about doing what's necessary every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline and purpose are the wood and oxygen to your flame. Without them, even the strongest fire dies. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you're ready to take on the world, and the next you're questioning everything. If your fire relies on motivation alone, it's already in danger. But discipline, that's different. Discipline shows up even when you're tired. It's there when no one's watching, when there's no applause, no payoff, and no promise that any of it will work. Discipline is the part of you that says, I will, when everything else says, why bother? Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it's about being rigid, harsh, or robotic. But real discipline is rooted in clarity. You know what you want, you know what you're working toward, and because you know that, you build structure around it. You create habits that serve your future, not your mood. You choose actions over feelings, consistency over convenience. You wake up early, not because it's easy, but because your goals demand it. You say no to distractions, not because you don't want to have fun, but because you know that real fun comes when the work is done and the mission is alive. And then there's purpose. Without purpose, discipline is just routine. It's hollow. It becomes a checklist instead of a calling. Purpose gives weight to your effort. It connects your grind to something greater than results. Purpose says, this matters. It gives meaning to the struggle. It helps you endure the discomfort, the monotony, the frustration, because you're not just working hard. You're working for something, whether it's for your family, your future, your community, or your legacy. Purpose is the why behind the work. It's what turns the mundane into something sacred. You don't find your fire by waiting for inspiration. You create it by aligning your daily habits with your deepest convictions. You become the kind of person who does the hard things, not because they're glamorous, but because they're necessary. You don't skip steps. You don't chase hacks. You stay grounded in your process. The fire you build this way can't be put out by a bad day or a bad mood. It's not conditional. It doesn't rise and fall with outside noise. It's internal. It's earned. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you feed the fire. Every time you say no to what's easy and yes to what's right, you feed the fire. Every rep, every page, every late night or early morning adds fuel. You start to trust yourself. You start to build momentum. And before long, the flame isn't something you have to find anymore. It's something you carry. It becomes part of how you move through the world. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about staying focused even when it's not fun. It's about doing the little things with excellence, knowing they add up to something big. When you combine discipline with purpose, you don't just stay lit, you burn brighter over time. The challenges don't get easier, but you get stronger. You stop being surprised by adversity. You expect it and you meet it with preparation because you've been feeding the fire all along. Failure is fuel, not defeat. It's one of the greatest teachers you'll ever meet if you're willing to listen. Most people run from it. They treat failure like a disease, something to be ashamed of, something to hide. But the truth is, every successful person you admire has a history written in losses, setbacks, and stumbles. What separates them from everyone else is not that they avoided failure, it's that they learned how to use it. They let it sharpen them, shape them, and prepare them. They turned it into fuel. Often, the sting of failure is real. It hurts. It can bruise your ego, rattle your confidence, and make you question your path. That pain is not something to ignore. You feel it because you care. You feel it because you tried. And in that pain is information. In that discomfort is clarity. Failure reveals the cracks in your foundation, the gaps in your preparation, the places where your belief wasn't strong enough or your effort wasn't deep enough. It forces you to look at yourself not through the lens of pride, but through the lens of truth. And if you're bold enough to look closely, failure will show you exactly what needs to be fixed, improved, or rebuilt. You only fail when you stop. As long as you're still moving, still learning, still adapting, you haven't failed, you've grown. The problem is most people see failure as the finish line instead of the starting point. They hit a wall and decide that the dream wasn't meant for them. But walls are part of the path. You're supposed to hit them. You're supposed to feel that resistance. It means you're pushing forward. The wall is there to see what you're made of. Do you turn around or do you find a way through? Failure tests your commitment. It asks the question, how bad do you want it? If your dream falls apart after one loss, one rejection, one embarrassment, maybe it wasn't really your dream. Because if it matters that much to you, you'll find a way. You'll dust yourself off, get back up, and keep swinging. You'll use the pain as a motivator. You'll use the doubt as a reminder. You'll use every failure as a step, not a stop. Some of the greatest breakthroughs are born from breakdowns. Hitting rock bottom can give you the solid ground you need to rebuild with more focus, more hunger, and more precision. When you fall, you lose your fear of falling. And once that fear is gone, you move differently. You stop hesitating. You start taking bolder steps. You stop asking for guarantees and start trusting your grit. Failure also builds humility. It strips away the ego, the assumptions, the illusions of control. It brings you face to face with your limitations, and that's where real growth begins. Because now you know what you didn't know. Now you can correct it. Now you can climb higher. Failure humbles you, but it also empowers you if you let it. You start to realize that every loss has a lesson and every lesson has value. Even when you're losing, you're learning. Even when it feels like you're stuck, you're actually getting stronger. You can't skip failure. You can't avoid it. And honestly, you don't want to, because failure is the forge. It's where the weak are broken and the strong are made. It's where champions are crafted, not crowned. It's the necessary fire you pass through on the way to greatness. So if you failed, good. That means you're in the game. That means you're taking risks, stepping up, and putting something on the line. And every time you do that, whether you win or lose, you gain something that can't be taught by success alone. You must be willing to grind in the dark. That's where the real work happens. Not under the lights, not on the stage, not when people are cheering your name. The grind begins when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when it's just you, your goals, and your discipline. It's the unseen hours that separate the great from the... Everyone wants the prize, but very few want the process. Everybody wants to win, but not everybody wants to sweat for it when the cameras are off and the world's asleep. Grinding in the dark means showing up when the excitement is gone. It means putting in the reps when progress feels invisible. It's doing the work today, even when there's no immediate reward, no applause, and no one telling you a good job. It's setting the alarm before sunrise and getting to work without needing anyone to notice. It's choosing effort over excuses and purpose over comfort. While others look for motivation, you rely on commitment. While they wait for the perfect conditions, you build in the storm. The dark is where habits are formed. It's where champions are built. Because in the dark, the only person you're accountable to is yourself. There's no validation, no spotlight, just your willpower and your why. That's where your character gets tested. That's where your resolve gets measured. And if you can stay consistent in those moments, if you can grind when it's lonely, when it's hard, when it's thankless, you develop something most people never will. Quiet strength. This kind of strength doesn't need recognition. It doesn't perform for the crowd. It's internal. It's silent. But it's powerful, because when the moment finally comes, when the lights do hit, when the opportunity finally arrives, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your preparation. And if you haven't been grinding in the dark, if you haven't been putting in the time behind the scenes, then no amount of spotlight will save you. Talent might get you through the door, but only your grind keeps you in the room. Most people underestimate how long success takes. They want it now, fast, easy. But real success is slow. It's built brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. You won't always see the payoff right away. You might go weeks, months, even years without any visible result. That's where most people quit. They mistake quiet progress for failure. They stop digging 2 feet from gold. But those who grind in the dark know better. They trust the process. They believe in the compound effect of effort over time. They know that consistency eventually creates momentum, and momentum eventually creates breakthroughs. There will be days when the grind feels pointless, days when the weight is heavy and the road is long. You'll question your pace, your path, even your purpose. That's normal, but this is where the difference is made. The grind in the dark isn't about speed. It's about endurance. It's about showing up on the days when motivation is silent. It's about falling in love with effort. It's about becoming the kind of person who can outlast doubt, distraction, and delay. Grinding in the dark is a choice. It's a mindset. It's saying, I don't need to be seen to be successful. I just need to be consistent. You keep your head down, do the work, and let the results speak when it's time, because the real ones know by the time the world sees the fire, you've already been burning for a long time. The world owes you nothing. That's a truth a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's the foundation of real growth. Nobody is coming to hand you success. Nobody is waking up in the morning thinking about how to make your dreams come true. You can be talented, you can be smart, you can even be deserving, but none of that guarantees anything. Life doesn't give rewards based on potential. It responds to action, to resilience, to relentless pursuit. The moment you start expecting the world to give you something just because you want, it is the moment you start losing your edge. Entitlement is a silent killer. It convinces you that effort is optional, that someone else is responsible for your outcomes, that just showing up is enough. But life isn't fair. It never has been. And the sooner you accept that, the stronger you become. When you stop waiting for fairness, you start focusing on progress. When you stop blaming the system, your boss, your past, or your circumstances, you begin to reclaim your power. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom. Because if it's on you, then you can change it. If it's your move, then nothing can stop you but you. The world doesn't care how hard your journey has been. It doesn't care how long you've struggled or how many obstacles you've faced. It only recognizes results. That doesn't mean your pain isn't real. It doesn't mean your story doesn't matter. It means that to get where you want to go, you have to use everything you've been through as fuel, not as an excuse. Your story can be the reason you rise, or it can be the reason you stay stuck. The choice is yours. You may not have had the same starting line as someone else. You may not have the same resources, the same connections, the same advantages. That's reality. But greatness doesn't require a perfect start. It requires a relentless will to keep going. You can't control the hand you were dealt, but you can control how you play it. Yeah. And some of the most powerful people in the world are the ones who were counted out, overlooked, doubted, but never gave up. They didn't waste time crying over what they didn't have. They got to work with what they did. You have to fight for what you want. Fight doesn't always mean throwing punches. Sometimes it means waking up early. Sometimes it means saying no to comfort. Sometimes it means doing the things you hate with the energy of love for what they're building. The fight is in the follow-through, the consistency, the daily grind. That's how you earn your spot. Not by hoping someone opens a door for you, but by kicking it down if you have to. Not by waiting to be chosen, but by choosing yourself and doing the work to prove it. There will always be people who seem to have it easier. People who make it look effortless. But don't let the highlight reels fool you. Everyone's fighting a battle you can't see. And even if someone did get a head start, it doesn't mean they'll finish ahead. Because in the long run, effort beats advantage, heart beats hype, and hunger beats handouts. The ones who last, who thrive, who rise, those are the ones who take full ownership of their journey. They don't ask the world to give them something. They show the world why it has no choice but to make room. This mindset is about accountability. It's about grit. It's about knowing that everything you want is possible, but no one's going to carry you there. You have to want it bad enough to show up day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's unfair, even when nobody claps. Because that's what separates the ones who wish from the ones who win. When your fire burns bright enough, it doesn't just light your path, it lights the way for others. That's the real power of personal greatness. It's not just about what you achieve for yourself, but about how your journey inspires those who are still searching for direction. When you operate with consistency, discipline, and passion, people notice. Maybe not at first, maybe not loudly, but quietly, steadily, they take it in. They see how you move. They watch how you handle adversity. They feel the energy you bring, and that energy becomes contagious. You never know who's watching. It could be someone close to you, a friend, a sibling, a coworker, or it could be a stranger who caught a glimpse of your effort and found something in it that made them believe again. The example you set by pushing through struggle, by staying committed, by refusing to quit, that example has a ripple effect. It reaches people in ways you may never fully understand. It tells them that their fire can live too, that they're not alone, that even in the dark, someone else is walking forward. Leadership isn't about titles or positions. It's about presence. It's about integrity. It's about showing what's possible when someone truly commits. You don't have to shout or demand attention. You just have to keep doing the work. Be the person who raises the standard by how you live. Be the one who shows others that it's okay to start small, to fall down, to feel uncertain, because what matters most is the decision to keep going. That's what people remember. That's what resonates. Sometimes the greatest impact you have comes during your hardest moments, when others see you face failure with grace. When they see you hold your ground in the face of fear, they gain courage for their own battles. Your resilience becomes their blueprint. Your fire becomes a torch they can carry. And that's not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about being vulnerable enough to struggle, but strong enough to stay in the fight. There's something powerful about living with purpose that reaches beyond personal gain. When your reason for showing up is bigger than just yourself, your fire burns longer and hotter. You become driven not just by your goals, but by a deeper sense of responsibility. You realize that your actions echo, that someone else's breakthrough might be waiting on your example. And when that understanding sinks in, it changes the way you move. You stop chasing applause and start focusing on impact. The fire inside you can be the spark that wakes up someone else's potential. It can help them realize what they're capable of. It can remind them that they matter, that they still have time, that their story isn't over. And maybe they never had someone believe in them. Maybe they never saw what it looks like to fight for something with everything you have. But then they see you. Not because you're the loudest, but because you're consistent. Not because you're flawless, but because you're relentless. That's the power of being lit from within. You don't just survive your path, you illuminate it. And in doing so, you create a space where others feel safe to pursue their own light. It doesn't take grand speeches or big platforms. It takes showing up. It takes doing what you say you'll do. It takes living in a way that makes others believe they can do the same. The fire you carry isn't just for you. It's a guidepost, a signal, a reminder that greatness isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's possible for anyone willing to fan their flame into something real. Here's the ending to wrap up all 6 expanded keynotes from your speech to fuel your fire. So wherever you are right now, whether you're at the top of your game or clawing your way from the bottom, remember this: your fire is your responsibility. No one else can light it. No one else can feed it. And no one else can carry it. When the weight gets heavy, that's on you. But when you choose to protect it, feed it, and fuel it with purpose, discipline, and grit, something shifts. You stop waiting for chances. You start creating them. You stop looking for inspiration, and you become it. And that's when your fire stops being just about you. It becomes a light in the dark for someone else, a spark in someone else's storm, a reason for them to keep going. That's legacy. That's impact. That's power. So keep feeding your fire, keep grinding, keep rising. And whatever you do, never let it die.